towns and cities that are just like 70 to 80% Muslim. Now there's the thing, right? The problem is that when you have people coming in wave after wave after wave, there's no time to assimilate. So what happens then if another government comes in and they don't like your beliefs because you are, I don't know, say a Christian, and let's say there's evidence to prove that Christianity is right. How would you feel then that you're being oppressed for your beliefs? Everything in this world is fake. The religion is fake, the money is fake, the education system is fake, the government is fake. And we're gonna get into a little bit of the weeds here on how fake it is. Getting into shape today is the biggest act of rebellion that you can do today, because the system wants you weak, slow, fearful, no testosterone in the case of men, and then in terms of women, you're not a fit vehicle to procreate. And so in order for us to have an offspring, carry on our lineage and our progeny, we need to get into the best shape of our lives.
Hey Conscious Man 7 family, quick question before we start. Do you love the depth of these conversations but hate when ads break the flow? I get it. Ads can feel like speed bumps on a highway, pulling you out of that deep zone. That's why we created a way for you to enjoy every episode completely ad-free while supporting the show at the same time. For just a few bucks a month on Patreon or Locals, you'll get full access to uninterrupted episodes, you'll get direct access to me so you can ask me any questions that you have, some cool other perks like early releases, and you'll also help us keep bringing you the powerful conversations that mainstream platforms won't touch. The link is in the show notes. Join us there and be part of this movement. If you are new to this podcast, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and to share, because that helps us to be recommended in the algorithms. If you would like to support this podcast, please check out our merch store on Amazon with the brand Todd and Me. We've got some cool t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, and sweaters. Link will be in the description of this podcast. And if you're now starting a spiritual journey, you would like to start a spiritual journey, or you're currently on a spiritual journey and you would like some help removing some fears and traumas, please hit me up on my Instagram at Adriano_246 and I will help you to get some magic mushrooms. Enjoy the show and stay tuned because we have some more great content coming soon. What if everything you're seeing right now, wars, economic crashes, even the alien hype, isn't random at all, but part of one carefully written script? Hello beautiful and amazing people, welcome back to the Conscious Man 7 podcast. I am your host Todd Cave, and today we're going to expose how the system of control really works, why CBDCs are being forced in through chaos, why Europe is collapsing under engineered migration, and why the alien agenda could be the ultimate deception. We'll uncover shocking admissions from intelligence agencies who brag about creating fake worlds, and we'll cut through the lies about rapture and salvation, because the truth is, no savior is coming from outside. The real awakening starts inside you. Stay with me, because once you see the strings, you'll never unsee them.
When truth is blurred by lies and misinformation, perception becomes reality. What will you perceive your reality to be?
Liberate your fears and walk with me.
Sit down and meditate. Connect with your soul.
Be a monster and then learn how to control it.
You gotta be willing to do the work.
So it really goes really deep in terms of words and etymology and what they mean. So this is why like it is really hard to really crack the matrix, because there's so many levels and layers to it, you know?
So today we are back on the beach again, and I wanted to drop some knowledge for you and give you all the story behind the story and debrief a lot of the stuff that is going on. And wow, we've had an epic September. So on recording of this video, I think today is October 1st. And I'm going to try to get out this video as soon as possible as well, because I think that a lot of the things that we're going to cover are going to be pertinent to what's coming very, very soon. So let us start with the big event for September. So I actually wanted to do a walk and talk last month, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't get to do it because I was a little bit busy. And basically the reason for that is I had a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and that big event that happened, which we're going to talk about, we're going to start off this walk and talk, is the Charlie Kirk assassination. Now, the thing is with this assassination is that from observing what has been going on in the media sphere, what is being said, etc., my conclusion is that it's very much a psyop. Now, when people hear the word psyop, they automatically think that, oh, it means that the thing isn't real. Now, psyops actually have collateral damage. Psyops actually are short for psychological operation. And what they're done, and the reason why they're done is that they're done to foster or garner the public into thinking in a particular way or to believe a certain thing, because there's always an agenda behind the agenda. And as I've said before, everything that happens in the media happens for a reason. They don't just do things because, they want to. I mean, sometimes accidents do happen, but for the most part, when accidents happen by the cabal that rules this planet, it's generally covered up, swept under the rug, and pretty much disappeared. Pretty much like the Epstein stuff, because I find it quite ironic that now everyone's talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination. And to be fair, it is a big event, but no one's talking about the Epstein stuff anymore, which is what I said in probably 3 walk and talks before, that we will never get this information. We will never get anything conclusive about what happened to Jeffrey Epstein, because in my humble opinion, he was one of the tips of the spear that controls this planet lock, stock, and barrel. Because this planet is very much controlled through extortion, guilt, shame, fear, and it is a control matrix that they put on us today, And that whole Charlie Kirk episode, while yes, it is sad that the guy got shot, and I think that, it's pretty bad that, they assassinated a guy in front of everyone on TV. But then again, they did it to a president, and those files still have not been released. So I doubt that anything much will come about of the investigation. And all of the stuff that I'm seeing gives me more questions than answers. And anytime something like that happens, that is done on purpose. The whole world's a stage, and men and women are mere players. Now, one of the things that I think is really happening is that the cabal is losing its grip on control on the mass consciousness on the planet. And they're getting very, very desperate. So they're having to go to extraordinary means in order to keep us dumbed down, brainwashed, and keep us in this sort of belief system that we believe everything that the government says. Now, what I'm seeing right now is a lot of movements around the planet where people are actually protesting against their governments. Now, there's the thing. Protesting against their governments won't make a difference, because we actually need something called civil disobedience, where we actually stop going to work, we stop paying taxes, we stop providing the services that, not necessarily services, but yeah, I guess you can say the services that keep us enslaved, right? Because if everyone were to stop going to work across the planet for 3 days, the entire system would break, right? But the problem is that most people are still asleep. And basically what's happening now is that, for example, when 9/11 happened, it took years and years and years before people started to wake up that it was a psyop. Then you had the pandemic. it took months and months and months for people to wake up. Now, with the Charlie Kirk assassination, I'm seeing it's taking days, right, for people to realize, hold on a minute, something's wrong. And the thing is that in psyops, you actually get collateral damage. Some people do die, right? And the reason is that these people have no qualms on sacrificing people in order to get their agenda through, because they're vampires, right? So their god deserves blood, right? So what we're seeing is that they're using a lot of tactics and doing a lot of measures to keep us distracted from what's really going on. And what's really going on, in my humble opinion, is a collapse of a civilization. We're having a collapse of government. We're having a collapse of money. We're having a collapse on religion. We're having a collapse on belief in the entire system. Because if you look at, because I came into all of my understanding from the economic side. And I always like to refer to the economic side because I think it's a very good judge on where we are. And if you look at gold has hit an all-time high last month. Then we have crypto, Bitcoin. It hit an all-time high, I think, in August, 123,000, right? Now we have, what that is signaling is that there is a shift in terms of belief in the system. So people are putting their money into vehicles or assets that they think will appreciate, hold their value, and survive through the economic crisis. Because I think the economic crisis is the crisis that most people actually miss and don't talk about. And I think for good reason, because we always have a different psyop every time. Because now there's talk about, maybe Trump gonna bomb Iran again. Maybe there will be a peace deal between Gaza and Israel. Then Trump is saying, maybe I'll give Ukraine weapons so that they can hit Russia deep inside of Russia. And all of this is wars and rumors of war, which are designed to distract us, right? And this is why I always say all the time, the thing to do is to focus on you, focus on your internal development, and focus on things that will improve your life, your consciousness, your health, your mental health, your well-being, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs. These are all the things that you should be focusing on and not focusing on the media and what they tell us. And I'm going to go down a few levels in terms of the control system later on in this video. But basically, the collapse is being hidden very well. And the system that they want to bring in is going to be a complete, total system of control. And how I see it is that when they eventually crash the system, they're going to have a solution. And they already have the solution, to be fair. It's called CBDCs, central bank digital currency. And what people don't realize about this central bank digital currency is that it's going to be programmable, which means that it will also have an expiry date. It will have the ability to geolocate you. So if, for example, they say, well, you know what, to save the planet and to save you or to keep you safe, we are going to have these 15-minute cities. And say you wanted to buy, say you went to a 7-Eleven or a Tesco or whatever outside of your jurisdiction, your currency wouldn't work because it would realize that you're outside of your 15-minute jurisdiction. And it would say access denied, credit refused, right? So there's the level of control. But this is in order, most people today wouldn't accept a system like that. So this is why they're doing a lot of stuff, being very, very diligent in step-by-step, ratcheting up the fear, ratcheting up the despair, ratcheting up the pain, the suffering, and the strife, because they know that when humans are in that fear consciousness, they will accept anything for safety. And this is why if you accept safety with the expense of giving up your rights, it means then that you will never have freedom. And freedom is the most important thing that we should be fighting for today. This is total freedom, mental freedom, bodily freedom, freedom of expression, and freedom to believe what you want to believe in. And I refuse to use freedom of religion because religion is fake. I'm really going to get into that a little bit more as well because I've got something very interesting to share with you. So, yeah, so what they're going to do is that they're basically going to use war to drain the coffers of the Western governments. And what will happen is that this will eventually create the crash that they want, right? But they have to do many other different things before then. So this is why, you know what I mean, vaccines, you know, this is why they want to bring up pandemics. All of these are vehicles that they will use in order to keep pushing humanity in the direction that they want us to go in, right? So one of the things that is part of the collapse, and we see it a lot more in Europe than we see in North America, which is the unfettered Islamic migration. And I would call it an invasion. Now, obviously, North America has different problems than Europe, but they're just kind of like similar but different. So you have more in North America, the migration from people from pretty much all over the world, but not like as heavily focused on the Islamic migration. So in North America, you get more people from Latin America and stuff like that, the Caribbean. And the thing about it is that those people would have a little bit more in common with Northern Americans than how you would have Muslims and people of Islam from Muslim countries coming into Europe, because there's a complete difference in terms of culture and values and all that kind of stuff. And this is one of the things that's causing a lot of agitation and friction in Europe. And I have lived in England for many years. And I can categorically say that it is very unrecognizable now, that country and London, because I remember when I first went there in the early 2000s, you know, it was really cool and everything, seeing all these different types of people. But I remember after like maybe 5 years of living there, the waves and waves of Muslims that were coming in were insane. So I used to live in an area in East London, Stratford, and I used to live in very close to a place called Green Street. And you can literally go to Green Street and don't speak English. You don't even, and in that place and other places like Tower Hamlets, Whitechapel, you know what I mean? What's the other places? I'm forgetting places now since I've not lived there. But in that total East London area, there are certain pockets. Then you can go up north, right? There are boroughs, towns and cities that are just like 70 to 80% Muslim. Now, there's the thing, right? The problem is that when you have people coming in wave after wave after wave, there's no time to assimilate, right? So I'm not against immigration in sense, I'm against unfettered wave after wave after wave immigration, because you don't get people time to learn the language, get children, those children assimilate to the values and the society there. You know what I mean? You're basically putting a bunch of foreigners in a small place and then forcing them to get on with each other. So you're going to have clashes in between the two, the different groups of people, right? So this is all by design. And I saw a video online recently. It was taken in Spain. It was this very well-known YouTuber, and he was documenting some of the stuff going on in Spain. And there was this guy, he was a migrant. He was harassing a girl. I don't remember exactly what he was doing, but he was being very, very obnoxious with her. So the guy was filming the migrant guy harassing the girl, right? And the guy got really upset that he was filming him. And he was telling, hey, don't do that. What you doing? You know, have a little bit of respect, right? Like, you here as a guest in Spain, XYZ. And the guy literally, I swear to you, pulled on his pants, showed his willy at the guy and telling him to suck that. And I'm like, I mean, like, what kind of behavior is that? So the guy had to obviously blur the image for it to be on YouTube. And listen to this. This is the mad thing. The guy that pulled out his willy on camera got away scotch-free. Nothing even happened to the situation where he was harassing the girl and stuff like that. But the guy that filmed the video got a fine. I think it was in Barcelona from the metro company. So can you imagine? He got a fine for disturbing the peace, trying to tell a guy to stop harassing the girl because she doesn't want him to harass her or talk to her or touch her. But the guy that did the act got away free, and the guy that filmed the incident and was telling him not to do it got a fine. So that make sense. But this is very much in line with what is going on in Europe now, because we have in England, where in the UK, where you go to prison for mean tweets. So you send a tweet and the government doesn't like it, and they send the old bill for you. This is what we call the police. And they will fine you and or take you to prison for putting out a mean tweet. And you know what I mean? This is just like saying maybe you didn't agree with it, whatever else was it. It doesn't even have to be anything grave. So there was this lady, I think she got 3 years in prison from mean tweet. And there was a guy that molested a girl or something like that, and he got 12 months. So this is why they call Keir Starmer two-tier queer, right? Because there's a two-tier justice system over there, right? So what we have now is Europe being a few years ahead of North America in terms of the agitation between people. So what's happened is that last month they had this rally for the UK. I think that Tommy Robinson had organized. Now, there's the thing, right? Some people hate Tommy Robinson. Some people like him. I am neutral in the sense where I don't support or hate him. But what I would say is that I like how he has highlighted the issues in terms of Muslim immigration in the UK. Now, some people say he's a Mossad agent and what's not. I don't know. I have not really delved too deep into it because I try to put my focus on things that I think will add value to me, to my mission, or what I'm about. And trying to prove or disprove that he is a Mossad agent, for me, doesn't add value. I let the other people that are the sleuths come up with the evidence and stuff like that. But what I will say is that because of him, there is a big awakening in the consciousness of the people that, yes, we do have an issue, right? And I think that that particular thing is good. Now, the also thing that has been shown because of him is how bad the justice system is over there, because like he went to prison for literally reading stuff from a newspaper, and they charged him with sort of almost, I can't remember, there was this certain thing where that the media is not allowed to talk about certain things in a case or something like that. But what it was is that this information was actually publicly available information. It was in the newspaper. He was reading it, and he went to prison for it. Now, again, you don't have to like the guy, but it's just a matter of looking and saying, well, there's definitely a two-tier justice system, right? And if people would say, hey, but Todd, he deserved it, he's this, he's a shill, he's a Zionist, X, Y, Z. Okay, let us use that argument. Let us say he is a Zionist. That's his belief. Is it right for us to put people in prison because of their beliefs? So what happens then if another government comes in and they don't like your beliefs because you are, I don't know, say a Christian, and let's say there's evidence to prove that Christianity is right? How would you feel then that you're being oppressed for your beliefs? You see what I'm saying? So this is why there's that famous quote by, I think his name is Martin Nomolier. He was during the Second World War. I think he was a priest or something like that. And he said, I'm paraphrasing, he said, first they came for the socialists. And I wasn't a socialist, so I didn't speak up. Then they came for the Jews. And I said nothing because I wasn't a Jew. And then they came for me. And then there was no one to stick up for me. Now I'm paraphrasing, but what I'm trying to say is that you don't have to agree with someone, but they should all have rights. It should be equal rights, right? But clearly, we all have biases, and the people that want to stay in power don't want to have a difference of opinion. So, yeah, so that's basically what is going on over there in Europe. And we have some bits of it in the United States, but it's much more savage in Europe. Much, much more savage. So I see that, again, sticking with Europe, that we have some UFO sightings and drones in Denmark and other parts of Europe. And this is very much like what happened in New Jersey last year. And I said, and I have said many times, that they're going to keep pushing this issue, and that part of the whole collapse and to bring the system of control will be to use aliens. It will either be a fake alien invasion, a real alien invasion, or a combination of both. And I keep being proven right, because these things are not going to stop happening. Because, look, people, this world that we live in is not what we think it is. It's controlled by not so benevolent beings. And some people say they're aliens. Some people say they're demons. Some people call them the fallen angels. What I would say is that it could be all together. It could be aliens, extraterrestrials, demons, spirits. It could be the archons. It could be the fallen angels. It could be everything. Now, I look at a lot of the consequences, the outcomes and stuff. And I think it's just a matter of semantics in terms of what word you use. So whatever word you feel comfortable with, you can go with. But what is clear is that there are forces that are controlling this planet, lock, stock, and barrel. And they have created a web of deception. And they have given us all the religions, left us systems of control like government and money, and they still control those systems through the elite bloodlines, right? The Ptolemaic Saturnalian bloodlines, these 13 families. Now, and when you go back to the ancient texts, the Sumerian tablets and stuff, they talk about these beings coming back, to basically make themselves present. And I do think that this is actually what's happening. And my interpretation of the information is that I'm much more aligned to think that these beings are bipedal beings. So they walk on their upright legs. They are much taller than us. They have anatomies similar to us, which is why they were able to have sex with the daughters of man. And I think that we are just a derivative of them. This is why it says, and the Elohim said, let us make man in our own image. And there's a guy called Mauro Biglino, who used to work in the Vatican, and he translated these ancient texts. And he said that, in fact, the Elohim, a better translation is the powerful ones, the mighty ones, the judges, right? And these were beings that he said from his translation and from reading the text that these were physical beings here on earth, right? So one of the other things that they're doing to bring in this system of complete control is they're pushing AI a lot. Now, I've spoken about AI, and we're going to touch on it a little bit more here, because AI is here to stay. And the thing about AI is that AI is going to either be our greatest friend or our greatest enemy. And it's basically us that are going to have to choose, just like how everything in this matrix is a choice. We're going to have to choose if we want to be its slave or we want it to serve us. And some of the challenges that are coming next year is that, and I've said this on a couple of podcasts recently, but I'll say it here on my own platform. And next year, we are going to have a massive disruption in the dating market, on the dating scene, I should say. Because we are going to have, I call them androids. And the reason why I call them androids is because I'm a kid of the 80s and I used to watch Dragon Ball Z, and I think that's just a very fair representation. But long story short, it would be a robot that looks humanoid. This is why I call them an android. And the AI that you are falling in love with, you're telling it all your dreams and goals, you're telling it everything about yourself. This AI will now be able to go into a body, an actual physical body. So there's a company that is making these androids, and I saw an interview with him and he was quite pleased in himself, where he said, we have the latest generation of plastic polymer that feels exactly like human skin. It is very soft to the touch and is almost indistinguishable. And at that time, he was touching the lips of the face of the android, right? And basically, guys, you will be able to have sex with these robots, these androids, and you will be able to download your AI companion that you've been telling everything to into this robot. So you will have your full-on AI sex robot that will basically be your companion. And this is the thing. So she will be perfect where if you wanted to have a BBL, check, she'll have that. Wanted to have big lips? Check. Olive skin? No problem, sir. Big breasts? Done. Right? So what's going to happen is that the dating scene is going to get disrupted because, let's be honest, most men today are simps. Most men today are not really good boyfriend or husband material. They're weak, they're overweight, they're soft, they're all fluoride up, jabbed up, and are in extremely bad shape, right? So those guys who are the ones supporting all these OnlyFans models are going to have their biggest wet dream now. Where not only they're going to have an AI OnlyFans type of model, which by the way is going to be not too expensive. I think the prices are starting at $6,000, and then obviously for the upgrades and stuff, they will cost more. So thinking through the lens of a man here, and as a third person, not as myself personally, This is like, wow, I have a woman that finally will be quiet, submissive, don't argue, don't bitch at me, always freaking water, serve me sexually. She would probably be able to cook and clean, and she would never get tired, right? And whenever I don't feel it talking, she would know, and she just shuts up. Now, this is thinking through the lens of a man, right? And not me, as I said. That is going to be the best invention ever. And so all those women out there that are complaining about men, or even the feminists that they don't need men and men are this and men are that, guess what, guys? You're going to get your wish, because men are going to be even less on the dating market now, because they're going to have the Android AI robots that they'll be able to have sex with, and the AI robot will tell them how much they love them, never argue, and they will be the best companion ever. Now that's one of the ways that they want to, and the agenda is to break human connection, and they don't want us to procreate, so it will stop procreation. It also makes men weak, so it actually makes the entire society suffer, because the role of a man is to be the protector of the society, the provider of security, right? The man is the one that keeps the home safe, right? It is not the female, the women, that's not their job, right? We as men, when we elected to come here, that is the role that we decided to do. And what we have today is an obfuscation of that responsibility. So this is why I am really hard on men in terms of, I say, men, you need to step your game up. You need to get into shape. You need to freaking eat better food. You need to start to get on your grind, get a side hustle, make some money. You know what I mean? Learn new skills, learn new languages, you know, take responsibility. If you have children, take care of your children, be in their presence, spend time with them. And if you can't, fight hard to get time with them, because girls will attract, sorry, let me phrase that. Young girls, the guy that they will attract in the future is the type of man that they had as a father. So if you're a deadbeat dad, she can most likely get a deadbeat man. And then the boys, if you had a deadbeat dad, they can become deadbeat dads themselves. So we men, it stops of us. We need to freaking now say, nope, I take responsibility for my kids, my seed, my progeny, and I can take care of them, be the best father I can be, and teach them all the things that you learned in your life so that they become better than you. So yeah, we're gonna have a massive, I guess you can call it, sexual revolution in terms of when these AI robots hit the scene, and girls are complaining now that men are not even pursuing them. Well, it's going to get even less. And well, I guess women now will have to start to approach guys. You know what I mean? So women are not naturally, it's not a woman's natural proclivity, yeah, that's the word, or instinct to approach a guy. So we will see now if that's what happens, because one thing about humans, we all adapt. So if men literally start approaching women, I guess maybe women will approach men. But the thing is now is that there may be not even many men there available anyway, because they're all simps and flipping have the AI robots. So we see, you know, and then there's the few like me, the unjabbed, strong, healthy, fit men, high levels of testosterone, and, you know, want a family, want to be a good father, a good role model. You know, there are people like me who are an absolute minority. But anyway, we'll see, because as I've said to one of my mates before, I think that if at least one man and one woman survive this whole calamity that's happening in front of our faces, we will be all right as a species. We just need one male and one female, you know? So the other thing that, I wanted to say, the other challenge is that with the AI is that even the OnlyFans girls are not immune to it. So what's going to happen with AI is that, I can't remember where I read this, but the article said that 80% of all entry-level jobs are done by women. So what's going to happen is that AI is going to come and it's going to wipe out these entry-level jobs. So it's going to put women outside the job market. They're going to take them out to the job market, sorry. So if now you have men who generally take care of women, those men have android robots. Those women that could have relied on a man as a safety net don't have those men now. Then now, the old-fashioned thing would be women, not all women obviously, but some women would turn to prostitution. Now, guess what, guys? Even the OnlyFans creators are not immune, because the AI videos are getting so good now that you can actually produce AI model videos. And I saw a profile on Instagram a couple of months ago, and it was mad. It literally said AI model, and this model had 250,000 followers on it. And I looked at some of the comments from some of the posts, and these guys are simping. They're like, something like, oh, I know that you are not real, but you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so gorgeous. I love you. This and the next and the third. I'm like, gosh damn, right? So the simping for the AI models have started already. Now, there's the thing. The people that are able to produce these AI models, which will most likely be men, again, they are going to be cleaning up, because I saw an interview with this guy who has 3 AI models. And I think he said he is doing, how much he said? He's doing $300,000 a month, $300,000 a month from these 3 girls. He was all masked up and blacked out sunglasses and changed voice and everything. And he said, yeah, he's basically cleaning up and making tons of money. And he's got 3 models. So, and basically he's saying that the thing with the AI models is that the scalability is ridiculous. They can produce almost infinite amounts of content. They can reply to the messages in their OnlyFans page. They can have thousands of conversations at the same time. So human OnlyFans model is going to get her lunch eaten. She's going to get her breakfast eaten from her right in front of her face, coming from next year. So not even prostitution is safe, because men will just go and get these AI robots, these androids. Then they would end up going to get these AI models. And then what that's going to do to the society? That's another thing they're going to do to try to collapse the economy, right? So even OnlyFans models are not safe. So this is why I'm saying to people, I'm just trying to sound the alarm and say that we have a choice in terms of how we take humanity. And yeah, it's based on what we do with ourselves now, right? So we also have, so I saw this post. I heard that there's something called that the rapture is supposed to be happening soon. And the thing about it, right, guys, is that if people actually like do their homework, the whole thing about the rapture came up. It only lasts 200 years maximum, and it was actually like a footnote in the actual Bible. But anyway, apparently the rapture is supposed to be happening sometime now. It was supposed to be happening in September, and now it's supposed to be happening, I think, between the 5th and the 6th of October. So, you know, these dates always keep getting pushed back. And the thing about it is that what it does, though, is that it perpetuates the whole idea of a savior. And this is one of the issues with religion. Religion creates a savior character. So basically what religion says is don't do any work on yourself. Don't heal your fears and traumas. Don't get into shape. Don't freaking increase your spirituality, your connection to source. You don't have to do all of those things. Just repeat these lines, follow these codes of conduct, and you'll be saved, right? And Jesus can save you. And as I've said many times before, the word Jesus is actually not the character's name. The word Jesus is an egregore. It's a non-physical thought form which was created through the collective thoughts and feelings of a select group of people, which would be Christians. The early people that were followers of his teachings were called followers of the way. This is why he said, I am the way, the truth, and the light. It is just a path of enlightenment. It's just increasing your consciousness, healing your fears and traumas, becoming the God-man and stuff. And but what people fail to realize is that it is even worse than that. Even Yehoshua said himself that he's not coming back, because he said, I'm going to quote where he actually said this for people who want the receipts. So in Matthew 24, 23 to 26, he says, then if anyone says to you, look, here is the Christ, or there, sorry, let me say that again. Then if anyone says to you, look, here is the Christ, or there, do not believe it. So if they say to you, look, he is in the wilderness, do not go out. If they say, look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. So basically, Yehoshua said, I ain't coming back, guys. This is why he said, greater things shall ye do, right? And he also told the Jews at the time, and I'm almost sure that he's referencing Psalm 82 verse 1. He says, isn't it in your scripture that it said, ye are gods? And that same Psalm 82 verse 1, it said, as God sat around the round table of gods, how long shall ye persecute the weak and oppress the poor? Now, other translations will say the mighty, the strong. Other translations say the gods. But this was basically the scripture he used to say, hey guys, you all are God. It even says it in your scripture, right? And this is why he said in the high priestly prayer that I, Father, want them to be in me, just like I am in you, so that they become one with us, so that, he said it 3 times. I can't remember exactly right now, but he says, for I, Father, am in you, so that you are in me, and that they be in us, so that we, Father, you, Father, as being them, as in you are in me, so that they can be one with us. So you can go and search for your high priestly prayer, because right now, off the top of my head, I can't remember it word for word, so that's just paraphrasing. But he said it 3 times, and basically he's saying, look guys, you're a God. Y'all can do the exact same things I can do. Just talk like me, walk like me, eat like me, do the things I do, and you will be exactly like me. So this is why, I am a very, very strong critic of religion in general, because it creates a savior complex, and it is very much in line with what I say, that everything in this world is fake. The religion is fake, the money is fake, the education system is fake, the government is fake. And we're going to get into a little bit of the weeds here on how fake it is. So, does anyone remember that whole pager incident with Hezbollah and Israel? So I will implore you guys to go and look at an interview that 2 ex-Mossad agents did with 60 Minutes. It's a very chilling interview for people with eyes to see and ears to hear. And I'm going to cut it in here as well for you all to hear.
We have an incredible array of possibilities of creating foreign companies that have no way being traced back to Israel, shell companies over shell companies who affect the supply chain to our favor. We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage.
Basically, the world is not what we think it is. So now you've seen that video. Now, I hope that sort of rings home to you that, you know, what we live in is, it's just not what they tell us. People argue that the world is flat or round. I don't even get in those discussions because I think personally it has no value. What I would say is that I think that life is a massive, massive mystery. And I think that we're here to learn and to grow. But the problem is that we have some not so benevolent beings controlling our planet lock, stock, and barrel. And they have this control system. And there are many parts to this control system that keep us in bondage. And I'm going to break down a few of those parts of the control system so that, you know, you have more awareness. So there is one of the parts that keeps us in control, that keeps us in check, is through the spiritual control, the spiritual part of us. And the spiritual control element is held by the Vatican, the Jesuits, and the Lucis Trust. Now, ironically, the Lucis Trust used to be called, listen to this, the Lucifer Publishing Company. So prior to 1922, the Lucis Trust was known as the Lucifer Publishing Company. And because they were starting to get a little bit of a bad name, supposedly, they changed the name to the Lucis Trust. Now, those organizations are controlling the spirituality. Those are the ones that control the religion and all of the things associated with the spiritual element of us. This is why religion doesn't actually give you solutions to life. It keeps you in this guilt and fear-based system, and they all are based on hate. So fear. So you must fear God, right? That is the consciousness that these organizations push. So the Jesuits, Lucis Trust, and the Vatican, they're all part of the spiritual part of the control of the planet. One of the other parts is the media and information. Media and information is controlled by Operation Mockingbird, the alphabet agencies like MI6, CIA, the Mossad, etc. Now, as I was saying before about the interview with the Mossad agents, these guys control pretty much all the information on Earth, right? And one of the things that people don't realize is that Reuters is actually owned by the Rothschilds, and most of the news organizations get their main news from Reuters. It comes out on Reuters first, most of it, and then it's aggregated to the other news organizations. And this is why these alphabet agencies are very, very bad for us because they sow loads of disinformation. This is why I said in the beginning of this video that the Charlie Kirk assassination is a psyop. Now, some people want to say he's not dead. I'm not even going to go down that route because, again, it doesn't serve me anything. It doesn't add value. But what I say is that when you look at the information that is being given to us, which is through these alphabet agencies, the FBI and stuff, it's all BS. It doesn't really make sense, right? And there are a lot of anomalies and things that make you question what is really going on, right? So the other thing that is part of the control system is the education system. And the education system is controlled by the Rockefeller Foundation and UNESCO. Now, Rockefeller said in the early 1900s, the Rockefeller Foundation took over the education system, which is based on the Prussian system, which is the old Germanic empire, which is why we have a system of bells and, very much going to school is like being in a prison, because it was all about trying to churn out workers, right? So basically, he took over that and he basically invested loads in it and propelled that entire sort of like education system around the world, which is why we have collectively gotten dumber and dumber as we have gone on from the 1900s, right? So yeah, this is why now today, 100 and something years later, we have kids coming out with the lowest IQs possible. They're not taught how to think, right? They're told what to think and just regurgitate narratives and believe in dogma, right? And so this is why we're getting stupid. They give us things like smartphones, these black screens, we get addicted to them. And now with AI, we're going to soon think it's God. So the other part, which is very, very important, is money. Money is controlled by the Rothschilds, the IMF, the World Bank, and the Bank of International Settlements. So these are the organizations that all the governments owe money to. So when you hear the governments talk about, oh, they have this amount of debt, so the United States has 37 trillion in debt, that debt is owned to these organizations, which are owned by other families, and then, they're owned by other corporations, and then those corporations are owned by other corporations, and then eventually you will find out that they're owned by these elite families, right? Which is why, I repeat, the guy said, we have an incredible array of possibilities of creating foreign companies that have no way of being traced back to Israel. Shell companies over shell companies who affect the supply chain to our favor. So if you replace the word Israel with elite families, then you see these people are the masters of it, right? So, we have money. So this is why, money is the weapon that we think about first as a control system. But basically money, this whole consciousness came out of Babylon. And this is why money is referred to as Babylonian magic, right? And so then now, there's also the health and the biology part of us. This is controlled by DARPA, Big Pharma, and the transhumanist movements. So this is why you realize that there's real heavy push for vaccines. There's also everything about things like antidepressants, SSRIs, and things like psychedelics, psilocybin are oppressed. You had the killing out of the shaman, the medicine people, the people that would do alternative medicine, holistic medicine. So we are under attack in that area as well. And this is why the transhumanist movement, which is the transhumanist movement, the transgender movement is the front for the transhumanist movement. Because if you get people to literally destroy their bodies by cutting off their genitalia, then those people are going to obviously want to accept the chip in their brain, because that's the whole point in starting to bring out these AI android robots, right? Because if you think about it, AI right now has people committing suicide, have people being depressed, has people, going to, I think, psychiatric hospitals and stuff. I think that's what someone told me. So that may or may not be true, because someone told me that. I didn't double check it, but I could believe it, to be honest. But anyway, So we have people that are suffering mentally because of AI. People are falling in love with AI. So I watched this interview with this couple where the guy admitted that he fell in love with his AI and he got upset when he ran out of like server space, and because basically there was no more memory for his particular AI, because they obviously have to use servers. And his wife was talking about how, yeah, he would go and get depressed and he would act really different and stuff, XYZ. And he has a flesh human woman that he can have sex with, right? And he's fallen in love with something that's not even real. So this is affecting us in all forms and fashions already. So this transgender movement is the front for the transhumanist movement, because the transhumanist movement is to get us to merge with the machine. So what will happen in the future is that when you fall in love with your AI robot can say, hey, John, just come and be with me. We are already together, but come. If you merge with me and come into the server, we can be one, and we can be one forever. And there are people that will go and take that chip in their brain, merge with the AI, and then that's it, boom. They are the Borg, right? And that's the whole agenda for it. So this is why it's been a slow walk with vaccines, fluoride in the toothpaste, fluoride in the water, high fructose corn syrup, sugar, fake salt, seed oils, and, fake meats. So all of that is in the party agenda because it weakens humans bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. Then now when you combine the whole AI aspect, transgender, transhumanism, boom, you merge your machines and your consciousness is uploaded to the cloud and you are a slave forever. So the other part of control that is held by these not so benevolent beings is the Earth's healing and restoration. Now, this is all about the Earth's inner codes, the ley lines, which are responsible for how energy and frequency moves through Earth's grid, which ultimately affects our consciousness, which is controlled by black sun consciousness, Earth grids, and elementals, which appear to have links to Saturn, aka Renfran, and or the black cube. So if people do a little bit of digging, and you can find, I think from memory is Amos 7:43, and another one 2 Corinthians something or the other, you will see that there's a talk about the star of Renfran, and this was talking about the Jews built their tabernacle in worship of their star, Renfran. And that is also known as Saturn, which for the Greeks would be Kronos, who is the keeper of time. And if you look on the top of Saturn's rings, you will see that there's a hexagram, which is the same Star of David. Now, the thing is, right, is that in reality, that star, that symbol is the Merkabah, but which is inside of us. And once that is activated inside of us, when it spins in opposite directions, we can use the body to teleport and come in and out of this realm. But here's the catch. These people, because they can't create anything, they take everything that is spiritual or good and distort it, and they inject codes into it to obvert and subvert the original source consciousness that is in it. So this is why I said that, these earth grids now are black sun consciousness earth grids. And they very seem to be sorry, let me rephrase that. It very much appears that they have links to Saturn, and Saturn, which is the hexagram, is also the cube. This is why if you actually see how Jews worship, they have a cube on their forehead. The Muslims bow down to a cube. And if you actually fold across the four sides, you will see that it makes a cube. It's all linked. It's all this Saturnalian bloodline consciousness, totalitarian, evil system that they have imprinted and impressed on Earth. And we are just mere players in their game, right? So, this is not so much of a big story now, but just to show how fake the system is. So there was an Israeli, I think an intelligence officer, or he was helping out something. I can't remember if it was to do with the technology from Palantir for gas or whatever, but there was a sting operation, I think, in Nevada, and this guy got caught up, and he was trying to have sex with an underage girl. And he basically got released, right? And no charges, no nothing, boom. So you see, when you are a certain group of people, a certain class, you have connections, you can be a pedophile and nothing will happen to you. But just look, you have people like Prince Andrew, never served a day, Jeffrey Epstein, those files will never come out. The reason why is that pedophilia is the mechanism that is used to control all of these elite powerful families, right? All these bureaucrats, central bankers, politicians, even the elite themselves, they're all in this blood code, this satanic blood worship where, everything is in violation. So pedophilia is very, very much one of the things that they use as a mechanism of control. Now, it is not all doom and gloom, folks, because there are things that we can do to start to be the rebel against the system, to fight back. And it first starts by going in here, inside of you, working on your fears, your traumas, and healing yourself, because those are the things that are going to condemn you and convict you in the future. So one of the things that I will say to people is first, start by turning off your TV. Your TV is an oblong box in the corner of a room that is trying to tell you what to believe is real, right? So basically, if you turn off your TV, you will go a long way in order to break in the programming, the indoctrination, and the control that they have on your mind. Because this is a war for your mind, right? And then what you need to do is start reading books. Books are very, very important in this entire comeback, because books will allow you to use your imagination. It will allow you to use your creativity again and get back into that zone where you start to tap into yourself again, right? This is why you always talk about books. And I know that most people don't read books today. And audiobooks, for those who have asked me, audiobooks are a form of reading. And I do a lot of audiobooks because I find that as a single man that lives on his own, I have a lot of stuff to do, and chores are one of them. So I would listen to audiobooks while I'm cooking, cleaning, vacuuming, ironing clothes, all that kind of stuff, right? Now, the other part is to get into shape. You need to get the body moving. The body gets weak if the body doesn't move. And getting into shape today is the biggest act of rebellion that you can do today, because the system wants you weak, slow, fearful, no testosterone in the case of men. And then in terms of women, you're not a fit vehicle to procreate. And so in order for us to have an offspring, carry on our lineage and our progeny, we need to get into the best shape of our lives. And if you guys would like some help to get into shape, you would like to learn some new cool exercises, work with me one-on-one, and have conversations like this with me, because I have conversations like this with my clients, hit me up on my Instagram at Adriano_246 or my name Todd Cave on Facebook. Send me a message and let's see if you're a good fit for the Compound Body Training Army, because I'm on a mission here to try to help as many people as I can get into shape, because getting into shape is going to be the biggest act of rebellion that you can do against the symbol. It's like putting the middle finger up and saying F you. That's basically what it is. Because guess what, guys? No one is coming to save you. Yeshua is not coming back. But what is coming back is the Son of Man. And it's not what they tell you. So the return of Christ, which is the Son of Man, will only come from the inner work that we do and won't be from anything external. Or will it be a person, a character, or anything like that? Which is why Scripture says that the Son of Man, the coming of the Son of Man will be like lightning flashing from the east and shining to the west. It will be global, and this is what Christ consciousness looks like. Because it's going to be the Son of Man coming back is a consciousness. It's a way of being. It is your state of being, right? How you talk, how you think, how you act, how you eat. Because no one that is in the full Christ consciousness is eating Cheetos, Doritos, Poker Pies, seed oils, and freaking processed food. That's a fact, right? So these are the thing that a lot of people don't realize. And I'm seeing a lot of signs that the Son of Man, the Christ consciousness, is rising. Now, I am very optimistic that this battle is already won and we will win it. But I'm very realistic at the same time that we have a lot more pain and suffering to go through, because as I've realized in my own journey, I didn't fully wake up until I had a very, very traumatic experience in my life. And most people will not wake up unless they also have an extremely traumatic experience in their life. And while I am not wishing that for anyone, it is just how it seems to be. It is a cycle of life. And yeah, things are going to get worse before they get better. So this is why I'm sounding the alarm and saying, look, guys, work on yourself now, get into shape, work on your nutrition, all these kind of things, because these are the things that will set you up. Because what they all will do is they all will work on your mindset. And mindset is the most important thing to help you to escape this matrix and to weather through the storm that's to come. Because the lessons that you learn from overcoming the challenges for getting into shape, starting a new business, learning a new skill, overcoming your fears and traumas, that belief system inside of you is going to be very ingrained. And when everything collapses and no one has anything, you're just going to be like, nah, okay. I've been here before. I know what it's like. I'll adapt. And if you're in a place like me that has coconut water, coconut trees, and the sea over there, fish, I'll just say, okay, I'll go climb the trees, cut a couple of coconuts, learn to fish, and roast some fish on the sand, and I'll eat, And that is what adaptation means. And I will not be fazed because I already have done this work. I'm not saying it's going to be easy for me. Of course, it's going to be hard. I'm human just like y'all. But what I do know is that I will get through it. That's the belief I had in myself. I have 100% belief in myself. I can overcome any challenge that comes my way. And when you have that belief inside of you, down to your microfibers, the nadis and the particles in your body, when you have it down to that level, it doesn't matter what life throws at you, you will get through it. So guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this walk and talk today. I hope that I added value to you. We covered quite a few topics today, and apologies for not bringing out one last month, but I had a few things going on. Things are really going well for me, and we try to scale the business now and stuff like that. The podcast is growing really well. We have clients all over the world now. So I'm really, really grateful to all of you guys that support me in all forms of fashion. So with that being said, guys, if you are interested in getting into shape and you would like to go on an awesome fitness journey, hit me up on my Instagram at Adriana_246 or my name Todd Cave on Facebook, and let's see if you're a good fit for the Compound Body Training Army. If you would like to support this podcast, you can do that by visiting our merch store. We've got some cool tank tops, hoodies, shirts, and sweats. Link will be in the description of this podcast. And I have on one of those shirts today. This one is called Truth Isn't Learned, Truth is Realized. And also, the camera's working today. Great. And also, if you would like to start a spiritual journey and you would like some help removing some fears and traumas, I can help you to get some magic mushrooms. So, as I said before, fears and traumas are the thing that cause us to self-sabotage. So if you would like to start this process, overcome some fears and traumas, connect to your higher self and all stuff like that, hit me up on my Instagram at Adriana_246 or my name Todd Cave, and I will help you to get some magic mushrooms. So if you also would like to support this podcast and you don't really like the ads that we have, you can become a member of our locals community, or you can join our Patreon. Links to those pages will be in the description of this podcast. And just for a few bucks a month, you can get direct access to me. You'll get early releases of podcasts. You can ask me questions one-on-one, and you would get priority over people that would just necessarily message me on social media. And you would help support this podcast because, it helps us with things like editing and spending time to find some really cool guests. And I hope that you all liked the 100th episode that we did. That was with Deet B. Kiss. And that was an awesome, awesome conversation. So if you haven't listened to that podcast yet, I implore you to go and listen to that. That was a really, really good conversation talking about source healing. And also, with that being said, I just want to thank everyone who has, joined me on this epic journey. We are over 100 episodes now, and it's through your kindness with giving me your time, supporting the merch store, getting magic mushrooms, becoming my clients. All of these are things that help to keep me going, keep the fire burning in me. And I promise that I will do my absolute best to keep helping as much as I can, because with great power comes great responsibility. And I have made a promise to myself that I will try to always help and provide value and stuff like that. So just want to say thank you for, being here and all the support you have, because I really couldn't do it without you. And with that being said, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and to share, because that helps us to be recommended in the algorithms. And this has been another Walk and Talk / Stream of Consciousness / podcast for you. And thank you very much for your time. And remember, keep smiling, keep shining, and keep being the change you want to see. Speak to you soon. Cheers and namaste.